If you're interested in learning the art of meeting women during the day, then this video is a must-watch. I sat down recently with my buddy Braddock, who's mastered the skill of approaching and meeting women during the day for an in-depth interview. He has loads of actual footage of him meeting women during the day on his YouTube channel, which I'll have the link in the description below. You definitely want to check it out. He is definitely the real deal. So in this video, we cover a game plan to meet women during the day, how to deal with approach anxiety and social pressure during the day, and how to get started getting out, approaching, and meeting women during the day the easiest way possible. Got my boy Braddock here, so excited to have you on here. And you know, we got in touch the other day after you had seen one of my videos, and I saw your stuff. We've chatted together now for a few calls, and you have a wealth of knowledge. You have a lot of tactical and specific knowledge and really, really good stuff. And I could tell that when somebody has that type of knowledge, it's because they've put in the work, they've done what it takes. And that's the only way you get that stuff, right? You can't read it, spit it from a book. Like, you're giving me straight reference of stuff you've been through. So, and one of the specialties that you have is day game. And day game is something that I don't do a ton of. I make no, I'm very open with that. You know, I definitely do more night stuff, but day stuff is something that a lot of guys are very interested in. I think it is very awesome as well too. I do it, but I wouldn't say I'm a master of it, and I do it very consistently. So I'm really excited to have you on here to help share some stuff that I'm looking forward to learning, and definitely for everybody else as well to learn some stuff from you. So I wanted to kind of ask you a couple questions about day game and how you go about it. And the first one I want to know is, what's kind of your steps as far as the goals and the game plan for a day game interaction?
So this is the pre-plan. There is no fucking plan. But there is a plan. So this is really confusing, actually, and I best explain it, otherwise you're not going to make sense of it. So the best mindset to go into interaction is to not expect anything, but expect everything. So like I feel like I've seen, this applies in night game too, man, honestly. I feel like I've seen everything, but I haven't seen shit, honestly. I haven't seen shit. I haven't been in the world. I'm not all-knowing. I haven't been in the world forever. But I have been in the world of pickup for a long time. I've seen a lot of approaches. So in terms of an approach, my reference, I have the emotional reference experience to deal with a lot of things without thinking about it too much. So I can afford to not have a plan because I know how to deal with it without having the plan. But you guys out there that don't know anything about this, we'll need a plan at first, because you'll just derp out. You just go up and be like, so do you like, you know, honey? Oh, so what do you think about the taste? Like, do you like the color? So how often do you eat it? Do you see where this conversation is going? Nowhere. So you need a bit of a plan. You need a bit of a guideline, a bit of a structure. And I can give that to you. And I have that structure in the back of my head. For one, I'm sucked when I first started. And this is the difference between naturals and people that had to learn it. I had to learn it, so I learned the structure, and I can teach it to you guys. I can reciprocate it. For a guy that already knew it from birth or from school, whatever, he can't tell you about it. He can just do it. And when you ask him how he does it, he's going to be like, just be yourself, man.
Yeah.
We all know that advice, and that is good advice, but it doesn't help you. It's
right.
Good advice. You should be yourself, but how do you be yourself? He ain't going to tell you because he doesn't know how. Okay, so in terms of the steps, this is the mentality I'm going to go through now. So when you're going out in the day, the best mentality you can have when you're going out in the day is to not go out to necessarily pick up girls. Go out with something you're going to do that's away from picking up girls. So you're off. This is the basic of the basics. You're going to a grocery store. You want to buy some food, but allow yourself the opportunity to meet girls in the time. So don't like hold yourself to the plans you have. If you have plans, try to make your plans flexible so then you can meet girls around them. And this is important because if you go out just to pick up girls, you're going to get into that pickup mentality, and you're going to quickly get very predictable, not only in your own brain, to other people. So you're just going to do the same thing over again, and you go out for the goal to pick up. I mean, you go out for the goal to pick up. You stop being spontaneous. You stop expressing. You stop being in the moment. And it's weird because no matter how much you try to be in the moment, if you go out to pick up in the day, you're out to pick up, and that does take away from the being genuine about it. So rather, you're out to do something very purposeful that you're going to do anyway. But you allow yourself time to approach women in the meantime. Then when you actually do it, you're not expecting anything. You're not expecting a reaction. You weren't even expecting to do the approach. But the fact that you gave yourself the opportunity gives you the chance to do that. And it's fine for guys at first starting to go out and game them all, because it's not going to go well at the start. If you're first starting, that's not going to go well at the start. So this mindset's not going to help you until you're at least kind of intermediate. But if you're a beginner, going out to game them all is fine, because you're going to get blowouts anyway. They're not going to go anywhere anyway. So just this mindset, but the difference between this mindset and not this mindset means nothing, because you don't have enough to even get yourself anywhere. You're going to derp out and not even get the girl's number. You're going to be too scared to even approach. You're going to have too many problems. But that's something that will help you later on. And I think it's really important. And then there's other important factors, like where are you actually approaching people, blah, blah, blah. But this lets me into the next thing. And you can ask me another question after this. But the first step, I think, with day game is you have to understand the situation the other person's in. Because they don't get approached every day. They're not ready for maybe you're about to jump in front of them or say whatever. So you have to be really empathetic about that. And that's why I want you guys, when you do your approaches, is to be empathetic with the person's situation and to verbalize it. So acknowledge what situation they're in. This is important. Don't be empathetic for the sake of being empathetic. This is a big problem, because guys will say, well, I have to be empathetic. That's a tactic. That takes away from it. You can't be empathetic as a tactic. Girls are so good at screening it out. You have to actually want to understand the situation. So if girl's in a rush, know what you're getting yourself into. Know what she's in. Know that she's in a rush. So when you talk to her, you understand. You're not going to be upset that she might not want to talk to you because she's in a rush. Be like, I understand that you're in a rush, but if I didn't talk to you, I'd never probably get a chance to talk to you. So I want to at least use this as an opportunity to talk to you, even though you're in a rush. So, maybe I can walk with you for a bit. Like, that is a lot better than you blindly going up to her and being like, hey, you're hot, I want to talk to you. And she's like, can't you see I'm in a rush? I don't care, I want to talk to you. You know what I mean? There's no empathy. You just be real with the empathy. That's the first step. There's more. But I'll bring it back to you and you can ask me questions. But the first step is, honestly, just to pay attention to the other person's circumstance, be empathetic about that. And that gives the person it gives them freedom. Because when you say that, they're just like, oh, thank God. He's talking to me. I'm not sure if I'm ready to be talked to, but at least I know he's not going to harass me. Because that empathy allows them to know that you're not going to harass them, you're not going to follow them, you're normal. And that's a relief for that person. And that's good. That's really important for the day.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Yeah. And I've actually seen a couple guys that I know that are really good with the day game stuff. And they'll say that they're like, I know this kind of came out of left field, but I just wanted to come over and chat with you. Right. Or I would have been kicking myself later. So I just felt like I kind of had to come over and talk to you. Or this made me really nervous. Right. Or they'll even say that they were nervous about it or whatever. And they'll kind of just call the situation out. Right. And be empathetic. And
it's important.
Yeah. And that's really key for building a connection. I love that.
And saying something like, don't let me interrupt you. I know that you're in a rush. So giving the person a chance to leave straight away, being like, I know that you're in a rush, so feel free to leave, but I just want to say my piece. So you say it, you give them a chance to leave, and guess what? If they stay, if they actually stay, there's a difference between someone staying because you made them stay and someone staying because you let them stay, because they wanted to stay. And the difference is, one, they're going to flake. The other one, they're probably not going to flake and they actually want to get to know you. That's the difference. And people always ask me, how do you get girls to stop flaking in the daytime? Stop trying to hold them there. The moment you stop trying to hold the girl there, you stop trying to force them to stay, they'll stop flaking. If you let them stay on their own accord, they will stop flaking. That is like the biggest thing for flakes in the day. It's not the same for night, but for day, that's huge. And I keep saying it to people, but it's like people don't get it. They just, because it's like in their reality, they want the other person to acknowledge them. They want the interaction to go well. And the indications of interaction going well is it going longer, or, the girl smiling. So they'll do everything in their power to get the girl to stay or to make them smile, but they're not understanding what's actually happening with the other person. So listening's a key thing there. There's a lot of things, but giving the other person a choice if they want to stay or not, giving them the ultimatum. A lot of time they will just be polite and be like, well, the fact that he's been so empathetic, I'll stay. And then that's really powerful. Just like, hey, don't let me interrupt you. I know that you're in a rush, so you can walk off if you want. The girl might say, that's fine. What's up? And they've literally decided to stay now, rather than you forcing them to. It's so much more powerful.
That is super powerful, man. That's an awesome tip, man. I love that. And the coolest part is you have a lot of great infield footage of you actually doing these approaches and examples and all this great stuff on your YouTube channel. So I'm going to link all that, and that's awesome, so that everybody could see how it actually works in action. Second question I want to ask you is, one of the biggest issues that guys struggle with, especially in the beginning, is the approach anxiety, right? And I wrote a whole book on approach anxiety. It's on Amazon, but
I got to read it.
Yeah, it's a good book. And approach anxiety can even be a little bit more different in the daytime too, because now there could be a lot of social pressure, right? Like somewhere in a grocery store, if there's a lot of people around or something, it's not necessarily an environment like a bar where it's more conducive to mingling. It can be a spot where you may be a little bit more on display. So what are some tips on how to kind of get over that, just to kind of get more comfortable and familiar with that type of situation? Because I know that's a lot of guys from doing it in the beginning.
It's completely understandable. When you're out in the day, people are going to pay attention to these things more than often than not. At least you think they're going to. They're not necessarily going to, but you think they're going to. So you approaching a girl in the mall, you almost see yourself as on display. And often the girl will feel that as well. So this is why the empathy is really important. When you go and talk to a girl, she feels like she's on display because it doesn't normally happen. So the sooner you kind of take that display away, you don't want someone to feel like they're on display, because that will make them flake as well. They'll feel like they're on stage, and that's not real. Being on stage is acting. You don't want the girl to act. You want the girl to be who she is. You got to eliminate that. And empathy is a good way to get rid of that. Anyway, back to the approach anxiety. Honestly, you've heard this so many times, and I hate talking about this, but I love it. And it's only because it's the same thing over and over again, but I want to give you guys my unique perspective on it. And of course, day game and night game bring different circumstances with approach anxiety. Approach anxiety in the day is unique. It's unique because it's not as normal to approach, first of all. You don't have the facade that you have at night. You can't hide behind alcohol. You can't hide behind, I'm drunk, I'm talking to people. It's normal to talk to people because it's the night. And like I said, you feel like you're on stage a bit. But the best advice I can give you guys is don't try to predict what's going to happen. Don't try to foresee what's going to happen in your brain. You have the gift, for you newbies out there that haven't done many approaches, of having the innocence to all this. And the worst thing you can do is to go and watch all the theory before you do your first approach. That will destroy your innocence to it. That will destroy the gift you have. Because if I could go back, I would love to just do some approaches without knowing anything and not having to push shit in my brain. Because the more shit you put in your brain before you do the approaches, the more expectations you have of what might happen. Don't give yourself that yet. You don't want that yet. All you want is to go over and just go over and say hi. Say whatever comes to your mind. And if nothing comes to your mind, it's fine to say, hi, this is my name. There's no expectations here. You're allowed to say whatever. And it might go bad. And that's fine, because this is what I'm going to give you, the get out of jail free card. The second it's too much. The second you feel like you're uncomfortable, you're making the other person feel uncomfortable, this is what you say. Hey, I've got to go. I'll let you do your thing. I'll let you do your thing. You seem like you're in a rush. You seem like XXX. You just peace out. You're like, you just say, hey, it looks like you want to do your own thing. I've got to go, blah, blah, blah. Nice meeting you though. Peace out. That's your get out of jail free card. You know that you go into interaction. If it's too much, you can leave. You can bow. So there's your get out of jail free card. So what's your excuse to do it? All the excuses you're going to come up with, I've heard it before. I'm sure you have as well, Joe. Mm-hmm. Maybe she's walking too fast. Maybe she has a boyfriend. Maybe she's not your type. You don't even know she's your type. You never spoke to a girl yet. So that's bullshit. Just catch yourself out with these excuses. Realize that the excuses are popping up in your brain. Everyone else has them, and they're not helping you. They're there. Don't try to fight them. just understand they're there. Don't try to fight the anxiety. Don't try to fight it. Don't be like, oh, because the more you fight it, what you resist persists. What you resist persists.
Mm-hmm.
So just understand it's there, accept it, but do it anyway. And what you'll notice is the anxiety will fade, and it will be okay, because later on when you feel these feelings, you're like, I felt this before, but nothing bad happened. So it's okay. Yeah, it's okay. So all these feelings are okay, and you got to, and the worst case scenario, you can bail. You usually get a jail free card. You don't have to stay there with the girl. You don't, just because you talk to a girl doesn't mean you have to talk to her forever. You're allowed to say hi to a girl and peace out instantly. You're allowed to say, hey, how's your day going? Anyway, see you later. You're allowed to do that. That's completely fine. You're allowed to do that. Don't pressure yourself into having to have a 1 hour interaction at first. You don't have to do that. Just, yeah, like I want you to stay in, but you're allowed to leave, honestly. So that's my tip for approaching anxiety. It's really simple. I don't want to overcomplicate it, because it's not worth overcomplicating, to be honest.
Right.
It's just not worth overcomplicating.
That's fantastic. I love that. And just having, so much key stuff right there, like just accepting the feelings rather than fighting them. Because as we know, with any type of anxiety or any mental bad beliefs or whatever you have, fighting them always makes them worse. And I love that you have the option, if you want to, you could leave after, right? And don't have to, make it that big a deal. You don't have to knock it out of the park even on the first one. So that's so key. Now, I know probably some of the guys watching this, maybe I'd say probably a large percentage of them probably aren't doing too much day game right now, but really want to get into it and get started and do more of it. And what would you say if somebody is completely fresh, but they want to start doing this? What would you say is the best way to start? Maybe what's the what should they say on the approach or something like that? What's kind of the best way for them to go out there and actually do their first approaches?
Right. So we're going to first have to understand where's the best place to approach, because there's a few things we're looking for here, right? We want the first thing is we want available girls, because if you're not going to pick up girls in a retirement home, right? You know what I mean? We want to find your demographic and go to where they are. So what I found personally, good places to meet women. And this is the key factors you want. This is the first step. You want girls that are free. They're not doing too much. Girls that aren't necessarily too busy, or they're not too upset to be interrupted. That means they're not in a rush or whatever. And another good thing is looking for girls that perhaps maybe are tourists. Maybe they're open-minded to doing something together. It depends. Do you want a tourist or do you want a local? I'm not saying you have to go for a tourist, but this is a good opportunity for you to spend time with a girl, because they're often more open-minded. Where are you going to find them? That's the question. Not in certain areas. So I would say most of the part, sometimes you should avoid malls. Most of all, because most game guys will go to malls, and they're not as brilliant. They're fine, especially if you have a keen eye. If you know what girls are the best to talk to and when's a good situation, malls are good. But there's so many people in a mall. If you just talk to whoever, 9 out of 10 girls in a mall, nothing will ever happen, because they're all in a rush, all working, they all have something to do. Whereas if you go to a landmark, Sydney Opera House, half of the girls there will be available. Way more. You dramatically increase your odds of having a good interaction just by location. So what I urge you guys to do is go somewhere. Vision. Where do you think the girl you want to meet with, and where do you think they'll go relax? Not where they work, wherever they go relax. Wherever they go relax and unwind, go there. That's your first step.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. Next. What do you say? I hate this. As much as I love it, once again, with approach anxiety, there is no best thing to say. But the best thing to say is what's relevant to you and the other person in the moment. And that can be any combination of you on your own, what's going on with them, or you two together, or the environment. So there's 3 things there. You, them, environment. What's relatable? Because if you go up and talk about spiders, and there's no spider, you've got nothing to do with spiders yourself. The girl has any spiders there. You're not in Australia, so spiders aren't relevant. And it's not relevant. The girl's just going to think you're fucking weird. So you've got to make it relatable. So it's not so much what the exact words to say, is what what you want to talk about. And you want to talk about something that's relatable. And a good way to hit that is you can talk about something that relates to the girl. So an observation is fine with this. Like, I noticed that you look very relaxed. That's kind of relatable to her because that is about her. Or you could say something about her. You could talk about yourself. But at first, talking about yourself is good. If you talk about the girl will always listen if you're talking about her, because what's the most relevant to her is her, right? So she'll listen to that. But at some point you want to give the girl an idea of yourself as well, because then she knows who you are. So you want to kind of give her an idea. The way you give a girl the idea of who you are is, what are you doing here? What the fuck are you doing in this location? What's your plan, right? You don't have to say my plan is to talk to you. That's weird. You want to say, oh, maybe I'm just enjoying the area today. I'm taking photographs, and I just stumbled across you, and you look like you were enjoying the environment just as much as me. Nothing fancy, but it's relatable. You want to make it relatable. You want to talk about something that's either relevant to you or her or the environment. So if you're at the opera house or wherever you are, you could ask her a question about that place. It's relevant, right? So try to keep it relevant. In terms of what to say, you have an aid here. What's going on in your life is your aid. What did you do today? What's interesting? You can talk about that. What do you notice about the girl? What is unique about her? Does she have interesting colored hair? Does she look relaxed? Does she look she's having a stressful day? What insight do you have about that? Talking point. Where are you right now? What's cool about that location? If you're a tourist and you haven't been there yourself, you could just fucking chat about that. That's the best thing to talk about, honestly. I can't tell you exactly what to say because I can't tell you, say, go up to the girl and talk about horses.
Right.
You can't, you know what I mean? You can't do that. Yeah. This is why Mystery Falls short, man, because you have the thing to say at the start, and if you rely on that particular thing, you're gonna try to stay on it. You don't transition, you have to transition. So the most important thing is if you say something that you didn't really want to say and it wasn't relevant, you have to transition. So the more less relevant things you talk about, just to get the conversation started, you have to transition immediately. So if you talk about if you ask for directions, and you don't actually want directions, you ought to transition ASAP. Because if you're like, oh, directions to this place, and the girl's like, yeah, it's that way. You're like, oh, cool. So do I turn left or right? And the girl's like, you turn left. So what's it like? When I get there, what's it going to look like? She's like, it looks good. You'll see it when you get there. Oh, no, but have you been there before? Do you see? It's going nowhere. You got to transition. And if you guys if I give you guys an opener, you know what you're going to do? You're just going to stick on that fucking opener. Because that's what you do. When you need something to do something, you stick on it. So it's not going to do any help. If I tell you what to say, you're just going to stick on that, and it's going to go nowhere. So you have to transition off of it, and you got to learn to say stuff in the moment. And if you really want something to say, if you want a canned thing, I'll give you something. Hey, don't let me interrupt you. Don't let me interrupt you on this fine day, but let me introduce myself. My name is blah blah blah, and that is your name. That's your fucking opener. But you say, yeah, there's your opener. Easy.
I love it. Yeah. And then go into, like you said, stuff that's relevant and relatable in the environment and even why you went up to her and what type of vibe you're getting off of her and the stuff that's all around.
Yeah. It has to be relevant. Otherwise they're just going to be left thinking, what was that? Yeah. And they're just going to think you're random. A lot of girls do get approached for guys that ask for directions. And when you ask a girl, how much do you get approached? I never get approached in a day. But if you were to look, they do get approached. It's right. The guys that approach them don't know what they're doing, and it goes nowhere. And a girl would never even see that as the problem is with this is, right, they don't see you as a threat, but they don't see you. Hang on, there's two sides of this. There's threat and you're either a threat or you're what's contrary to that? Because for someone to pay attention to you, you need to be relevant, right? And right. Someone that is somewhat of a threat is relevant still. I'm not saying be a threat, but it's like you didn't even get on the girl's radar. If you just ask for directions and you how can a girl be like, how often do guys talk to you? Someone asked me for directions to Humber Jacks. It doesn't count. Well, Humber Jacks is a fast food restaurant here, by the way, but it doesn't count. That just seems like something anyone would ask anyone. There's no emotional relevancy. So it happens a lot where I hear girls saying that they don't think they get approached, but they do. They just didn't know it was an approach because the guy was so bad at conveying that he wanted to get to know her or something. The girl just thinks that she didn't know what it was. If she doesn't know what it was, she's not going to remember it.
Right. There's no intention behind what he's doing. And he's just throwing something so random out there that almost has nothing to do with his intention with her personally, so he can't get shot down pretty much.
And it's almost like like you said, you can't get shut down. It's almost like a defense. But the ironic thing about this is if you're not putting yourself out there to defend yourself from rejection, you're not going to get rejected, but you're not going to gain anything. So this is the way I review it. You're rejecting us. The girl's not rejecting you. You're rejecting you.
Wow, that's powerful. That's powerful. I love it. I love it. Man, Braddock, I appreciate this stuff, man. This has been, you dropped some nuggets of gold in here that is going to be really helpful for even, I'm going to take it and use some of this stuff myself. Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. And I know the guys will really appreciate all the advice. And what I'll do is I'll definitely link to your YouTube channel so that you guys can check out. I mean, you have infield footage of you actually going and doing and saying this stuff too. So they can get a lot of great ideas and get some inspiration to get out there doing this.
Do you want to ask me about the process itself that goes a bit further on, because I can talk a little bit about that.
Oh, sure. Yeah. If you want to add some process stuff, absolutely.
Yeah, so the first thing we have is before the open. I already talked about this vaguely. It's called the pre-screen. How you set up the open. So before you open a girl, you just want to quickly, not too quickly, give yourself a few moments to understand the situation she's in. So you can best adjust to what you get yourself into. So she's in a rush. Just acknowledge she's in a rush. So then when you actually talk to her, you know that she's in a rush and you aren't surprised that anything comes up later. Whereas if you just ignore everything and go up and talk to her blindly and you're like, why did she run away? You know, at least you know now. So that's the first step. Really easy. It's not, you just take a genius to figure that out. It's called pre-screening. It's just understanding the situation before you get into it. Next step is the open, right? So what you want to do in the open is, you can ask some rhetorical question. You can say something like, rhetorical questions are fine, something that the girl doesn't have to answer. The best thing is to say something you don't need an answer to, because you don't want to hold the other person there. You don't want to demand an answer from them. So you kind of want to say something hard, like in a way that you don't need an answer, but you still want to get their attention. And the way you do that is, after you kind of say it, is to kind of use a statement of empathy. So you ask, you might ask a rhetorical questions like this. Mine's really simple. Like, oh, how's your day going today? But I don't kind of commit to it. And then I'm like, oh, sorry, actually, I don't want to interrupt you, blah, blah, blah. Because the first thing you say to a girl normally doesn't click. So it's okay you don't want to ask a serious question because they're not going to get it. You kind of want to like ask something that's like, just whatever. And then I would use a statement of empathy to show them that you're not there to intrude on them. You're not there to like force them there. And then based on that, you can go a lot of directions, but then you want to transition from that onto something more relatable. And that could be you talking about, what you're up to today. You want to find out quickly what the girl's situation is. And a lot of that you will just figure out without asking. You might just know that you can see that she's in a rush, but sometimes you have to ask. So a lot of the first few things you've got to find out before you can get anything going is, what are you up to today? How's your day going? It's not a bad question, honestly. It gives you an idea of what's actually going on in their world. It sounds like a tricky question, but it's fine. And introducing yourself is an important fact, but then you also want to give them an idea of why you actually talk to them. So that could be that they have a unique, doing something unique. They're walking around in a unique manner. Like they look like a tourist, or they look like someone that you might get along with. Or I try to avoid something too direct. I don't like saying, if I go direct, I want to make it unique, direct. So if it's like, if the girl's attractive, I want to make her feel special about it, rather than saying you look hot. I want to say you look hot because, right? So it might be because she walks so passionately. She walks with purpose, or maybe you spoke to her and you kind of just like, hey, I only wanted to get directions from you, but after I heard your voice, now I actually want to talk to you. Isn't that weird? Like, I had no intention to talking to you, even though I did talk to you, I just wanted direction, but now I actually want to get in a conversation with you. You are so nice to listen to, and you've only spoken to me for a few minutes. For a few moments, that's good. It's a good thing. It's direct, but it's a very nice way to be direct. Things like that. But then after that, you have to find out what the situation is. You need to find out, what is she doing right now? What are her obligations? Try not to ask them directly. The best way to find out is to to either find out by suggesting a thing. So like, you know, if you want to find out what the girl's where the girl's going right now, you could ask her, you know, where are you going right now? Bit intrusive. Or you could say, you know, you could say something more open that suggests her to answer you. So you could be like, looks like you're about to go on a stroll to the Botanic Gardens. So you assume what she's about to do, and then it leaves her room to correct you. So a really big thing at the start of interaction is to make some like kind of nice assumptions, nothing too crazy, because we're not in the night here. You know, like, you look like you're about to go to a strip. You know, you look like a stripper. That's too much of an assumption. You know, you could say you look like you're about to do XXX, and the good thing about that is you're not asking the questions. You're not being intrusive. You're not asking her to talk to you, but you are making an assumption, and the girl will be obligated, or she will correct you most of the time. She'll be like, no, I'm doing this, or, you know, you're right, I'm doing that. And it's better that way than to ask her directly sometimes. So it's the same with a boyfriend. Like, if you want to ask if the girl's a boyfriend, you could say something like, it seems like you would get asked down a lot of dates. This must happen to you a lot. And that way she can give you an idea of what her situation is without you actually asking if she had a boyfriend.
That's brilliant.
Really good way to find out if the girl's a boyfriend. So that's kind of like screening and getting an idea of the situation. But where you want, there's two things that are going to branch off in the date with a girl. You're either going to go for the number and get a date later, or you're going to go on an instant date, go do something with her now, and something can happen from there. And they're both the same thing. An instant date and a date are very similar. A date's probably better because the girl's actually decided to come on a date with you in like set time aside for it. But an instant date's very good too. But just the different circumstances. The instant date, you need to the girl needs to be available in that moment. She can't have too much going on. And this is the awesome thing. If a girl doesn't have too much going on, all you have to do is make it relatable. You don't have to be flashy. You don't have to spike her attraction. You don't have to be like you don't have to be sexual. You don't have to do any of that. You just have to have some kind of relatability and give her an opportunity to do something with you. And obviously don't expect it to happen, but that's all you need to get an instant date to happen. So it can take anywhere from 20 seconds, maybe even 10 seconds to, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever. But the thing you want to be doing at first is you want to be, this is what I try to do. I try to be talking about, I try to hit a lot of topics on their head very quickly to see what the girl's interested in, what I can relate to her on. So I'm just like, bam, 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 talking a lot. This is the thing. At the start of the introduction, you have to do a lot of the talking. And it's in your best interest to do so you get insight to her. You got to, but when you're talking, you're not talking pointlessly. You're talking to find out about her. So you do a lot of talking to just get a gauge on how she reacts to different things so you know how to steer it. So, and some of this you don't even have to talk with. You could just see what she's like. So if she's a hipster girl, you might, want to talk about certain topics. I mean, if she's hipster, maybe I don't know what's good with.
Well, we got lots of hipsters where I'm from. Yeah, so we could talk.
Maybe we want to talk about organic food and shit. I don't know.
Yeah, tattoos and coffee and alternative music and all that stuff. Yeah.
Right, but But like at the start, it's not a bad idea to go through a wide amount of things and then hit as soon as to find one you actually hit on. Because if you try to hit the first conversational topic you go on might often not go anywhere. And if you just stay on that, it's going to get awkward, and the girl's going to be like, okay, well, if we just have to talk about horses all day, or if we're just going to talk about our parents all day, and you're not going to change the conversation, or it's going to go, I'm just going to leave. This is awkward, like. And one other thing is this. Okay, well, it's kind of hard. There's so much going on here that I want to explain. I can't explain it all to you. This is like trying to tell you guys like everything right now. But what you want to be doing is when you want to be enjoying the girl's company, you want to be vibing with her, you want to be getting to know her, and you want to be in the moment. But there's a process here, and this is the simple process. You do the open, you transition, You introduce yourself. You make it known that you are somewhat interested in her in a direct or non-direct manner. She has to know you're kind of into it a little bit, and a lot of the time that would just be because you talk to her. You want to find out what her situation is. You want to screen everything. You want to screen from boyfriend to what she's doing, and if she's emotionally available. You want to find out all that stuff, and then you want to take it forward if you have the circumstance. And the thing about this is I don't want you to follow the process. I don't want you to like think about this when you're doing it, like, oh, I have to take it for an Insta date. I better take it for an Insta date. What I want you to do is if you run out of things to say, then take the next step. So if you're at the step of introducing yourself and you're running out of things to say, you're like, well, the next step is to find out if she's available or not. So then ask a question that would, like, instead of saying nothing and derping out, you might as well do the next thing, is to find out if maybe she's single or not. Don't have to ask directly. You can if you have to. And then, maybe you're at the stage where you're vibing together and you're standing in the same spot. You've been standing in the same spot for 20 minutes and you can tell she's enjoying your company. And I don't know what to do now. Use that as an opportunity to be like, hey, let's go get a coffee. We're talking now. We're enjoying each other's company now. Why not? I want to get a coffee and I'm enjoying your company. Let's hit two birds with one stone. I'll enjoy the coffee and I'll enjoy it at the same time. Let's go. Like that, right? And honestly, you kind of have to do that at some stage anyway. So, there's no better or best time. And like, sometimes you can even like go for that as soon as you meet a girl. You just, you kind of need a little bit of investment for that. So the point where you could probably take a girl for a drink or coffee or something is when she starts asking you questions. So just because she asked you, like, if you said, well, hey, how was your day? And she's like, oh, not bad. How was yours? That's not investment. She's being polite. But if she says something like, she asked you an actual genuine question, like, what do you think would be a genuine question? So
it would be something like, even if she says, so what do you do for work, right? As long as it's something that hasn't been brought up yet, it's a new question.
Yeah, it's a new question that indicates that she's not just trying to hold the conversation. She's actually trying to get to know you. Means that it's a good time. Continue with the conversation, but you could move it forward now. That's a good indication. That's not like you could still move it forward without that, but it's a very good sign that you could do so. And a lot of the problem you guys are going to have when you go and do your day game is you're going to go and have all these meaningless interactions that look good on surface, but they're not. So you go up to a girl, tell her she's hot. You talk to each other in that one-on-one spot. You're here, and then you both leave separate directions. You want to be here and here with that girl, and the most important thing that's going to make it solid is, boom, you go off somewhere together, because you being in one place with the girl isn't that memorable, but you starting in one place with the girl and then going somewhere else is so much more powerful. So use that to your advantage. It's the same with conversational topics as well, right? At the start, you're going to be talking about, you're probably going to talk about a lot of different things, like I said, but eventually you want to deepen what you're saying. So it makes it more meaningful as well. Yeah, I feel like I'm going to just keep talking about the same thing here, but man, like you really got to go for the instant day. How my day game is based is really looking for the girls that are in a situation to go on an instant date. And if that's not going to happen, I'll just get the number. And the way you got about a number and the way you got about an instant date completely different, because if you structure an interaction around an instant date, you're not going to be trying to set up a plan for later. You're going to be acting in the moment, right? But if you're going to go on a date, you're going to try to see the idea of doing something not today, but later. Quick, especially if you have 2 minutes with the girl, you're not going to, like, just say this, right? You're going to have sex with the girl, right? You're not going to rush to get the number. You're not going to be like, oh, so what's your number, blah, blah, blah. You're not going to do that. Like, so many guys, you see them going and doing approaches, and the girl wants to talk to them, but it's like they're rushing to get the number. And as soon as they get the number, they're like, I succeeded. Yay.
And then they take off, yeah.
And then the girl feels disappointed. But it's like, what if I told you that girl was 100% going? I mean, you don't want to expect something from you, but what if you knew you were going to do something with that girl? Would you still do that? You wouldn't, would you? So that's the difference between the instant date. You can relax because the girl's free time is let that. let that relaxation and the time together take you to the end state. If there's not much time, obviously, got to move it forward a bit faster. You got to be more direct. You got to be like, look, you know, I don't know, I don't have much time to talk to you, but I would like I would like to hang out with you again. Like blah 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 XXX about you. Like there's just not much time. You have to be blunt. But being blunt like that when you're going to go on an Insta date almost shows that you're impatient. Like if you did that when the girl's like, I'm free, I have nothing to do, we can do whatever, and then you are impatient. And you act the same as if you're trying to get her number and you had 2 minutes. It's like, what's a good? I think you have a good word for this. You must. Like when I think you've said it before. The word I'm looking for. It's like you have. There's a lack of patience there, but more importantly, it's like you're not comfortable. I think you're just not comfortable with the situation, really. It's like, and it's like you're not enjoying it. You're not there. It's like you're not really there. You're there, but you're not.
Looking for like an exit, right?
Yeah. So we hit on a few things. I think these are really important things for day game. I mean, there's so many different important things. This is why I don't know. Like, I feel like I talk about so many different things. People would have too many different things to think about. It'd be too much.
No, this is fantastic, man. This is great stuff that's applicable, and you've given me some insight on different things that I've never heard before, you know, and distinctions that make so much sense to overcome certain things that just wind up happening all the time. Like you said, the interactions ending early because people are just looking for the number to get out, right? When instead, you know, like you said, even going to places where girls are going for their downtime rather than when girls are rushing around, right? Like that's so massive that no one talks about. So these tips are
it's sad, but it's the case, man. That's how I've had so much success in day game, man. It's like picking the right places, and like this is another thing. If you approach every girl you see, while you're approaching every girl you see, there might be a gem that walks past, but you missed her. So it's okay to not approach everyone, to just kind of be a bit more selective. So then you can actually pick a girl that you will want to talk to, and that's called pre-screening. It's like knowing who you like and seeing like the potential in something. Right? Because if you're just like talking to everyone and you're maximizing your chances by talking to everyone, but at the same time you're not, because like just say there's 1,000 girls and you can talk to 20 people in the hour, right? You talking to the first girl you see you talk to, all right, that's done. Next girl you see you talk to. Instead, you wait 5 and then you talk to a girl. You might have like saved so much time there. So like, don't not approach. Don't use that as an excuse not to approach. But like, it's something I see all the time. Guys would just approach anyone, but like they don't. It's like by doing that, they miss the good approach.
And as we know, man, like sometimes we get so caught up in some of this stuff that we forget the reasons we got into it in the first place. And the reasons we got into it in the first place, like we mentioned earlier during something, is like, you know, we got into it to go after the girls that we really want, right? That we personally think are attractive, that we are interested in our types of girls, you know? So that's what's kind of cool about definitely about day game too, is if you're going to do it and make that approach, right? You can say, okay, that's the one that I really was compelled to go and talk to. And you go in with that mindset, and it's much more genuine rather than I just approached her for the hell of approaching.
Yeah. Which is okay at the start, but you got to get past it.